It's day 6 of NaNoWriMo. I hope that your writing is going well, that your stories are continuing to move forward. Mine has gone pretty good today. I had a little bit of a busy day. I had to go to town and pick up some supplies that I didn't get yesterday. So that took some time. Came home and made some lunch. Had to carry in some wood, do a little bit of cleaning. And that was about the extent of the chores and stuff that I had to take care of. After that, I came in and started writing. I wrote for probably about 3 hours, most of which was just dialogue. It was several characters talking to each other on the phone. It seemed like a lot of writing, but there's a difference between writing dialogue and action or direction, and it seems to me that you can write a ton of dialogue, and then when you check your word count, you don't have as much as you thought. So I ended up with close to 3,000 words when I stopped, but I was hoping to have a little more than that. So if all goes well, I'm going to try to write some more before I go to sleep. One thing I wanted to mention today, I've noticed over the past few weeks that weird little moments have cropped up in my novel. Just silly things, you know, like small pieces of comedy where my characters find themselves in a situation and they end up doing something foolish, or, you know, but I'm not writing a comedy. Like, this is a story about, you know, a couple who are trying to deal with just their lives in general and like these dark forces that are surrounding them. And so that wasn't the direction I was going to go in when I started this novel. But I think it adds a nice touch to the writing. Maybe a bit of depth and some realism. So that's been kind of neat, just something that I noticed recently. That's really about all I've got. I know this video is going to be super short. I did simply want to mention, I think this daylight savings time thing has really thrown me for a loop. The past 3 days, I've been super exhausted for kind of no reason. So I'm hoping my body will adjust to the changes in the season and changes in time. That would be nice, to feel like I was back on schedule. I am curious though, so leave me a comment in the description. Let me know if you've found similar situations in your own stories. Not necessarily comedy, just things that you didn't expect, your characters going off track or veering in a direction that you weren't prepared for. That'd be interesting to hear. Mine seemed to be way off script, I guess you could say. I'm probably going to include a link to some music in the description as well. I don't know what that's going to be. I have a few songs in mind, but we'll see how that pans out. As always, I will say, you know, if you have ran into a roadblock or you're having trouble with your writing, just stick to it. And if you don't feel like you're meeting the word count, set that aside. In my opinion, the most important thing is that you try to write some every day. Do your best. If you've done that, the word count is kind of irrelevant. I'll throw in this random bit of information. Like I said earlier, I went to town to get some supplies, and I stopped in a little restaurant to get something to eat, and this girl was there, and she complimented my tattoo, which was kind of cool. You know, I live in the South, and a lot of people either don't know much about paganism or the occult, or they have a skewed view toward it. So usually when people see my tattoo, they just stare at it, or they stare at me, and it's kind of awkward. I've gotten used to that, so, but it was a nice thing for someone to notice my tattoo. And a little backstory, earlier in the day before I left to go to town, I watched this video where this girl was talking about how she had ran into this guy in a convenience store. And, I mean, he was a stranger, but she, you know, for whatever reason liked him or, you know, found him interesting, so she decided to talk to him. So I had this rolling in my mind, you know, when I'm in there in the restaurant, and I'm like talking to this girl, and she mentioned my tattoo, so we have a little conversation. And I'm an introvert. Like, I normally don't reach out to people. There's usually, like, I'm over here, and there's a space, and then whoever is over there. I tend to keep it that way. So, but anyway, I get back to my car, and that's rolling around in my head, and I'm like, fuck. You know, the girl that was in the video, if she can go out of her way to talk to a stranger and sort of reach out, like, I can do that too. So then I, like, scribble a little thing down, you know, of just the information for the blog, you know, like these videos. And go back in, and it's fucking awkward, like, because I had already bought something, you see, so and it's weird, like, I had to get back in line, and I ended up buying something else, and then I, you know, gave her the paper, and I was like, look, this is a YouTube thing that I'm doing, and blah, 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 you know, so it's fucking weird for me. Like, normally I would never do that in 1,000 years. So, that's that. So, as I always say, if you like these videos, give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully tomorrow's video will be a little more rational. And as far as I know, I'm not going out, so there probably won't be any fantastic stories of me getting in bizarre situations. I hope all of you are well, and as I said now 3 times, I hope your stories are going well. Keep the faith and keep writing. Have a good night.